What is up, Generals? We are back with Ultimate General Civil War, and this is the start of a new playthrough. We're using the most recent version of the J&P Rebalance Mod, which can be had on the Discord, and it's going to be included in the description of this video. And we're going to be playing a legendary campaign, which is going to be my second attempt at a legendary campaign on this channel. It's going to be Union this time, and we're going to be doing what I'm calling Diet Legendary. So I have tried and tried and tried to make legendary work for me, and it hasn't been generally successful. So what I've done is I've gone into the mod files for the game, which are located here. And I've changed a couple of figures in the AI config file. So this, the best part about the J&P Rebalance Mod is it gives you a great deal of flexibility with regard to what you do and don't want to deal with in the game. I have changed exactly two fields or two factors. Now, nominally, this is this file here is a .xls. It's a comma it's a CSV. It's a comma separated value. So Windows will generally want to open this in Excel. Panda has explained to me that sometimes Excel screws up values in these files, capitalizing things that shouldn't be capitalized and so forth. So if you have a version of Notepad, which I have Notepad++ because I program for my work, I recommend you opening it in a text editor of some kind. Basic Notepad is fine. I like Notepad++ for a lot of reasons. I have changed exactly one pair of numbers in this playthrough. I have toned down the AI scaling bonus. This is both for their numbers and their experience. And in both cases, the values are 0.85 versus the default value of 1. So I'll be facing fewer and less experienced troops, but they are going to be as well equipped as they would normally be in a legendary campaign, and they are going to be as aggressive, and this is the most important part as far as I'm concerned, as they would normally be in a legendary campaign. And the reason I'm doing this in this playthrough is I'm at this weird juncture in the game where Major General doesn't provide a significant enough challenge, but flip side, but the flip side is that legendary is too hard for me. So we're going to be taking an attempt at legendary on the Union. We're turning it down a little bit, what I'm calling Diet Legendary, which is going to be the name of the series. First thing we got to do is build our character. The big thing the Union deals with or struggles with is the quality of their troops. But in this playthrough, I think I'm going to go with the leading then kind of thesis is you go all in on training, and I can see this build being good. The thing I run into with a training 4 or even a training 7 build is that you're hamstrung in so many other respects in terms of building your army that I don't like it. I don't think it's very good in terms of it. I think I just hold you back. So we're going to kind of lean into the other aspects of the army. We're going to try and leaning into logistics to try and get our hands on good weapons. We're going to try and lean into medicine to keep the veterans that we do have and to limit the impact on our army of recruits. And that means that we're also probably going to take higher casualties as we go. So what we've got here is we've got no recon, and I really hate this. I'm going to want to fix this as soon as possible. But unfortunately, reconnaissance is not a high priority stat for the Union. And we got politics 3. This is going to be bumping up significantly our income, both in manpower and money, and we're going to need both of those things. It's significantly bumping our access to weapons as far as logistics is concerned, but our econ's only 1, so we're not going to have access to a lot of it. We are going to get vets back. We're going to get trickle back at the end of every battle, so it's like free veterans. And I think since I'm going into this campaign with a training of 0, my intention is to probably keep it there. And really focus on just building a bigger, well-equipped, and a bigger, well-equipped army with good access to medicine. That's going to mean that casualties are going to hurt really bad. But they're going to hurt regardless. So with that being said, let's jump in. Okay, so we are here at the start of the Philippi battle. Let's get the special effects back on. Don't want it to overwhelm my voice though. I've restarted enough times in order to get the first perk as musketry drill, and I'm actually a lot less picky about the second perk. This is a fine one. I would have preferred the accuracy perk, but I think the musketry drill is just such an important perk. It makes you. I'll go into some of my thesis as the troops move into position vis-a-vis army building. So you don't get to keep Schaefer or Stockton, so I don't care about them. But Zook you do get to keep, and especially considering I'm going in as no training, they're very, very important. All right, so short range focus on Napoleons actually makes sense. One of the changes in the Rebalance mod is that you immediately get your second wave of reinforcements right away. And so what that lets you do is just kind of move into things a little quicker. I'm going to see if I can't pick up one or both of the units that are up here to start off with. And we got horse artillery for our second gun. All right. I forget whether we get to keep woods or scales. Bristow. I'm pretty sure we keep woods, and if that's the case, that's really unfortunate. Horse artillery is not useless, I suppose, but there are far better perks for the cannon. I used to be all gung-ho about mobility as like a stat that I would try and pump on my troops. And I was talking with Panda on the Discord, again, located in the comments. And he mentioned, hey, mobility is great, but like it doesn't do you any good when you get where you're going. Once you get where you're going. And he's right? So I think they're just going to retreat the field altogether. It's better to have melee stats to help you charge things or better accuracy to fight them off in a shooting phase or whatever. So I've kind of stepped away from my thesis on like, I want mobility as a general perk or I want mobility as a unit perk or whatever. And unless I have a dedicated close-in artillery unit, I don't think I want the horse artillery perk. And I don't want, even if Woods is my guy, and Napoleon's would actually be a pretty reasonable gun to have as your horse artillery gun, I still don't want it on my first battery in the game because I'm only going to be able to bring realistically 2 or 3 to first bull run, and I need something that's going to be more useful early on. I can stand to have specialized batteries later in the campaign, but until then, I need to be focused on things that are going to be useful in a variety of cases, and that's probably going to mean rifled batteries with long-range perk choices so that I can have them counter battery, because we're going to be able to outgun them for the most part. For the first couple battles, they're probably going to have 6-pounders until, all right, so they just quit the field altogether as far as that's concerned. Great. My overall battle plan has not meaningfully changed with regard to this fight, and I'm going to be sticking with that pretty much. All right, Stockton, what do you have? Great. It's the best perk. Great. They both have the best, in my opinion, perk for their role. Let's get Schaefer up here. I'll just get him there. We'll figure that out. All right. Lots of just running around. Let's just up the speed until everybody gets into position. This is not a very interesting battle. And if you're starting the campaign at any difficulty whatsoever, my advice to you is just get past this bitch. Just get past it. It's an awful battle, and the guys who developed the mod have done everything they can to make this thing bearable, but they only have so much control as far as what they can do with this fight. So I overshot the eye. All right. Let me see. Woods. We'll put you here. Doesn't really matter where you go. You're not better at than or worse at anything. Bristow, however, we want you up front and personal leg. All right. What do we get here? Scales we get to keep. Excellent. I don't know if it's Walton or Loomis. If in either case, I'm very happy with what I got. I think it's Walton, which is a shame. In this instance, I want to keep Loomis, but oh well. All right, they've got their orders. We'll move you before too long here. So what the plan is we're going to shell Root out of his trenches twice. He will retreat at some certain juncture, and then he will come back, and then we'll do it again. And by which point in time, he will be generally worn down. Yeah, so this is about where you want to be for a Napoleon. They are probably best from here inward. And if you're new to the mod from the base game or from the vanilla game, you'll notice that the firing arcs are white, not black, which makes them much more visible in the terrain, which is great. And secondly, you'll notice that there's these new hash marks in the middle of the firing arc. What this is doing is simply illustrating in this range, you're going to be using canister. Here, you're going to be using more shrapnel type stuff. And then here, you're going to be using solid ball. In general, the Napoleon is excellent from about basically the middle of the middle range inward. So you start to see a really strong or really rapid drop off in efficacy from about probably the middle band outward. So it's hot trash out here. It's workable. It's really good in this range. All right. We're going to trade fire for a little while. We're going to trade better than we get. We're going to give better than we get, so it's okay. And we're just going to do that for a bit. All right, and if that happens, we can then move into the town. McHenry will not be any meaningful threat, as you can see. But now he's got nowhere to go. He's got nowhere safe to go. That's good for him. And he doesn't really have a lot of visible targets either. Now, I'm not going to move in yet en route. He's going to recover his wits fairly quickly, and then he'll want to push back on the bridge. So you want to route them twice, and the reason, and you could do this 3 times, 4 times. You could route them as many times as you wanted until you shattered, theoretically, I suppose. You have 5 hours. You got plenty of time. The reason I like to just do routing twice is, especially in the Rebel, they're all 0-star units, and this is a 6-pounder battery in here somewhere, so the threat isn't all that great. Let's get this. No, you're slow. Let's get the commander over there. So we'll cause some damage to McHenry, who will probably route across the bridge. I'm surprised Root hasn't moved to try and reoccupy his trenches. He usually does. Ah, we have let ourselves get out of the town. And now you'll see why I have someone in the recon eye. It is vital that we be able to see deeper into the town. And so this is like an observation point. If you're watching a legendary playthrough, you probably know some of this stuff, but these are like observation points. You need to have a unit next to them, and then you'll get this sort of aura of line of sight that is far beyond what you could normally get access to. Now, given the fact that I currently have 0 pips in recon, that is a super important ability for me to have. All right, let's let them do whatever they're going to do. McHenry's going to try and come forward again. I don't feel like rushing into things just yet. There it is. Root's coming up again. All right. So is McHenry. That'll be fun. All right, a little over 200 kills. 300 maybe, 350. All right, cool. We've taken some losses of our own as well. And that will happen. It's the Union, and I have no training, so losses are to be expected. All right, McHenry is unlikely to move forward and occupy the trench because he never had it in the first place, but Root did. So we're going to start moving across the bridge. All right, we're going to put you right up here, and you 2. Wait till they get into position. Timing on this might be interesting because Root's trying to move up and take the bridge again. Are we going to get our artillery into canister range before Root gets back into the bridge? And are we going to shell him out? All right, that's not that bad. It's annoying more than anything else. All right. Ah, Root is a 1-star unit. All right, so right now Schaefer's tanking. He's the most obvious target, and he's very close. So Root will shoot him over any other viable target. And this is just demoralizing, trying to get him to the point where he doesn't want to be on this bridge anymore. Poor Schaefer. If only I kept you next battle, I might be a little more careful with you, but I keep so little of these troops that I want to protect the ones I know I keep. Alright, lead the charge, skirmishers, everybody else run. And now I do need my commander over here. And Stockton here is just kind of keeping an eye on things, making sure Law doesn't get tricksy. He rarely does. Try and pull any shit. Hexamer's skirmishers are in the city as well. All right. So this is probably a great opportunity to talk about the kind of army I'm building and why I prefer the accuracy perk at tier 1. The other tier 1 perk gives you an increased movement speed, and it makes you more damaging during the charge phase of your fight, but only during the charge phase of your fight. The accuracy perk and the reload time reduction. So the accuracy perk gives you plus 50% accuracy on the unit, and I believe it's a 10% reload time reduction. I've got it on one of these guys. Yeah. That's always useful. Always useful. This is a game about black powder, right? This is the last linear war. So that's always going to be useful. And these are all 1-star units, all right. No matter what, whether you're a shooting unit or a melee unit, that is always useful. So, situational bonus or always useful ability is basically how I break that down. All right, they can stop running. And I more or less always prefer passive, always-on abilities versus something I need to work to make happen, because you're going to be shooting in the Civil War. Musketry is going to be a thing that gets done. So I'm a lot less worried about whether, because like I can make my units work in melee if I am careful about how I position them and use them. Non-melee units are fine in melee if I'm putting them in positions where they can maximize their utility as... I'm not saying this right. If they're in a good position together, it doesn't matter if they're not melee units. And if I've got fires and battlefield control and artillery and everything else working in a way that them being in melee isn't the end of the world, then that's okay. That gets the job done. I'm going to be pursuing melee very often. That's not going to be my preferred course of action, but every division will have melee units in it, and the army as a whole will have a pretty healthy amount of melee as far as what it's trying to accomplish, because it's a very effective way to clear off units out of objectives, especially if they're dug in. Like, melee is one of the best ways to get there, to take that from them. You can waste a lot of time shooting guys out of trees, or you can just send 2 or 3 brigades into it and clear them out at the point of a bayonet. All right. Whatever. We'll take the town. The dangerous thing is that one battery of artillery. Everything else is more or less just kind of seeing how things shake out. As you've noticed, probably, the defensive bonus or benefits of the trenches or entrenchments are dramatically improved. And specifically here, there's one that I'm paying attention to that's more noteworthy than the others, and that's melee damage reduction, or melee resist here. Melee resistance 60. So you take 60% less damage than you normally would in melee versus a unit not in melee. Or not in that cover. There's also a 20% bonus to the efficacy of your fighting. Now, the town here is a bit different than the entrenchments over here. This is why I think Stockton's just fine over here. I mean, he outnumbers him 2-1. There's that too, I suppose. But yeah, Stockton's doing just fine. I wish I got to keep these units. These are actually okay units. All right. We have the town. Let's get whatever kills we can. Doesn't really matter. Boom. All right. We're on to the next phase of the battle. In the vanilla game, this is a real nail biter. It's a little less so in the mod, but it's still a pretty tense engagement. All right, who's best to stand where? Zook, we don't want you taking too many casualties, but we do want you getting fighting in. All right, Scales, I think we get to keep you, and I think Walton, we get to keep you too. So let's get some time in the saddle for you. Who's got slightly better melee? Oh, there's more of you. Stockton and who doesn't have orders? Loomis. You're going to be my floater. Boop, boop. All right, Woods and Bristow. Nope, you're the canister unit. You're the horse artillery. So in this particular mission, you just kind of bunker up in the town, and they try and attack you. Like I said, in the vanilla game, this is a real fucking nail biter. In the mod, they've neutered it to hell and back again because this mission is just awful. And the idea was just get through it, just survive past. One of the things is they've really shortened the timer for when these dudes all show up, which is great. All right, all the infantry from 1st Division, you guys all go here. And then the 2 artillery. We'll get them in town. Oh, shit. One of them's a horse artillery. All right. Well, you go there, and then the other one, you go there. It's important to look at their perks, because if they've got different speeds or they move at different speeds and you bandbox them like I was doing a second ago, they will all move at the speed of the slowest unit, which in this particular battle, that might deprive you of a reinforcement being in position much earlier. Like, This battery haze, what's his middle perk? Cover and canister. Weird on a 3-inch battery, but okay. He's going to be in position much earlier than I would normally expect the reinforcing batteries to be in place. One of these guys, probably Bruce, has the speed perk too. So he's going to be in position earlier too. So I'll put Bruce right here. So Schaefer is kind of off on his own, and that's not great. But Zook is in a position to support Schaefer with supporting fires if someone manages to engage. And the entrenchment that Schaefer is in is great. Stockton is going to hold his ground because he gives us this recon point here. And also because, again, melee resistance in that trench. And we have the supporting units here to provide a lot of extra fires when they try and make the contact or make charges. All right, worrisome, definitely. We'll see how that goes. Welcome to Legendary. Yeah, I think we'll be all right. Yeah, Schaefer's fine. Those entrenchments make a big deal, as you can see. Okay, I'm actually not worried about Hatch. The artillery needs to fire at Grant. This is where it's dangerous. 2 units coming together, 3, 4, 5 units coming together. The first unit almost certainly going to get pulped, just shredded. But I'm a lot more worried about Grant than I am, in fact. Yeah, he's blocked. All right, I'm a lot more worried about Grant than I am Hatch. Hatch doesn't bother me at all. Okay, so far so good. So far so good. A little touch and go. Here we go. Now we have back access to the recon eye. We can suddenly see out. So when they're engaging me here in the trenches, I'm going to lose access to the church, and that's obviously going to be unfortunate. But they have a great deal of infantry, but they only have 1 battery of cannons. This early in the war, it's going to be 6-pounders probably. And if they want to trade fire with my guy in the trenches, that's okay too. Let my artillery continue to work its magic. All right, so you've got speed and charge damage, and more speed, and then reload time reduction, which is just a weird combo. All right, so now I'm trying to bait a charge. I abandon the trenches. Scales takes the bait, but goes at a weird target. What was that, Loomis? That's better. All right, again, I'm not worried about Scales. Parrot, however. Maybe I should be worried about Scales. These are big units. Big units with good experience. I am nervous about this. Parrot is a bigger unit, but okay. You're a little low on morale. Yeah, that's not so worrisome. Worried more about Perrin than I am anybody else right now. Okay. You've earned a chance to break. I'm going to be blind for a second. Oh no, he's routing. It's okay. So far he's tanked, and our other units have taken very light relative casualties to where they might... Wow, the artillery's over here. Okay, sure. And now they're in the open. We're in cover. We're trading very well. Understand that you are going to take losses, especially at Legendary, but in every difficulty. You're never going to get out of these battles completely squeaky clean. So you just got to try and make sure that when you're trading, you're doing so on advantageous terms. Speaking of which, I think I want Bruce over there. Well, maybe not there specifically. We got a melee guy? Accuracy. Accuracy. Elite. Yeah, sure, that's fine. That's a weird combo, but it works. You. I want you in the trenches. You're good. Alright, Perrin, let's get you out of there. They get to rest up for a while. Bruce takes his rightful place. Okay, the other battery. What's your perk? Good. Very good. Yeah, that's a really good spot. Really good combo for a 3-inch battery. Blah, blah, blah. If you're not going to attack, I care a lot less. Okay. Now I care. Okay. So, buttons. All right. Brucey boy, you get to go backstop Schaefer. I think he's going to need the help. Loomis is doing fine. Hayes is contributing already, which is great. Okay. They're going for kind of a, for them, a right hook, for me, a left hook. You on the boat, or Ironclad. Stockton, you need to just, no, you're fine there, actually. You're okay there. So they're limited in how much, yeah, that's good. There's enough stuff tanking the fire. No, look forward. You as well. Yeah, all right, we're okay. Schaefer can't hold that forever, though. Okay. Now things are, I'd say, battle's joined. Well and truly joined. They have their artillery. We've mostly shelled it out, which is good. But we're getting attacked by enough different things in enough different directions that I'm starting to get maybe a little bit nervous. All right, great job. Fall back. You've been relieved. However, I would say at this point in time, they probably, unless they concentrate, they probably don't have enough troops at any one location to take it. Yeah, that's fine. Well, that's a good solid melee there. They might actually decide to call it. No, they'll be okay. He's tired, though, justifiably. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, we're fine. So yeah, they don't have anything anywhere that can take the town at this point. And since so much of their force is concentrated over here, I usually leave from over here and push this way across the field. But given how much they're concentrated over here, I think I'm going to leave this way and push that way across the field and try and... They're fixed here with Bruce kind of tanking a lot of fire right now. So we're just going to use that. We're going to wrap their force here and I guess push them against the river. My worry is they retreat back here into the trees, but if that's the case, we'll just have to address that when we come to it. Oh, let's not do that, though. So the idea here is we're basically just enacting the U.S. Army's Battle Drill 1 Alpha. There's nothing particularly unique about this battle drill. It's basically an evolution of, I mean, the most basic battle plan on the planet, right? Hammer and anvil. Alexander, Gaugamela, etc., etc. Like, I'm not doing anything spectacularly original here. My opponent has been identified. He has decided to fixate himself on the Bruce front, which, I mean, I'm certainly inclined to allow him to do. And so now what I'm doing is I'm punishing him. I'm exposing a flank that he's not ready to fight on, and I'm attacking it, or I will be doing so pretty ruthlessly. And he'll be forced to split his defenses. And the thing is that he'll always be weakest right here at the pivot, or the anchor, because he's going to be being fired upon on two sides. So why did I put Bruce here? Because I had a suspicion he was going to be the tank, and I don't care so much about the gun he's got, the rebores. I do, however, care a great deal about Mississippi's and similar weapons. And I'm trying to keep my force here coherent, but a little spread out. So you don't need to be like shoulder to shoulder with the brigades. I think you can actually cover a much wider area if they're in a position where they can support each other. Maybe even a little further apart than I've got them now. Because these two brigades can support each other, these two brigades can support each other, and if they attack Milroy directly, Walton and Scales can support together. Amusingly, they have another unit of their own called Scales. This must have been a fairly common last name in the era. And actually, I am going to see if I can't sidle a little bit sideways. If you right click on the ground with a unit and then hold the right button, you can tell it where you want it to face when it gets there. If a unit's already engaged, like it is with Wheeler, it will attempt to move obliquely. Now, it's not perfect. The code was implemented at the tail end of the game's development, which means it hasn't always been here as part of the code. Grant's going to be in a really bad place here. He's trying to run laterally across a base of fire. And there's still no chance they'll attack the town successfully. Even if they break through everything I've got out in the field, Zook and the artillery are all in a great position to just smash whatever tries to attack. And now they're being attacked by so many different supporting units from so many different sides that they just can't. They can't get anywhere. In fact, let's move Colquitt up into this hay field here. And Loomis the same. Scales out here. Milroy out there, and then we'll just extreme hook or extreme keep the outside hook with Walton, who is admittedly out in the open. Let's see if I can't get him on the woods. Now, my personal methodology of battle is to get my hooks in them and never let go. Unless my dudes are tired, that's the only reason I back off. If my army is tired, there's very little profit to be had in continuing to fight it out. Because the men do not fight well when they are tired, I'll be moving probably fairly slowly. Moving like aggressively but slowly, if that makes sense. Which I'm sure it doesn't. Yeah, so I was afraid of this. Almost got the battery to surrender. That would have been nice. So now they're being driven back against the river. There's nowhere really else for them to retreat to. This is one of those instances where I think I will actually not try and press the attack for no reason. We're in a really good defensive position. They are programmed to keep attacking the town. So they'll take a minute, recover themselves, and try and come back out and engage me again. And just same situation at that point when that happens. Yeah, so here I'm taking like one or two losses of volley, but I'm getting like probably like 10 or 15, maybe like 10. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm trading 5 to 1. And I'm willing to make keep on making that trade. Additionally, what's happening here is I'm getting a lot of fires experience with the unit. I'm okay to keep on doing that too. However, let's go ahead and end this particular engagement with just a second round of supporting fires or another target. And now Walton gets to fire for free, basically. Yeah, you can see them starting to edge their way back out again. Let's back off with Hatch and Milroy. Maybe we can get to a place where they can't see us. And if the enemy doesn't see us, the AI is actually fairly good in this game about pretending like it doesn't know it's there. And then, as you can see, there's no way they're getting out of that little pocket back there. So what's interesting is, and when I play the battle, for the most part, they tend to end up in this pocket over here. It's the same general effect as what you've got going on right now. Just instead of doing it, over in the top right, we're doing it in the top left. And the really worrisome part is if they really get it into their head to retreat, they have all this terrain to retreat into. And that's kind of a bitch to attack. It's much easier to kind of cordon off this corner and then just say, hey, no, we're going to come get you. All right, so you saw the finished prompt. I can end the mission here if I want, but we're not taking very many casualties. Every second our guys are on the field, even if I'm not moving them around, they're getting pips in morale, experience in battle, etc., etc. But if I move them, I can get them some stamina experience. I can get them some efficiency if they fire their guns. There are limits on some of this stuff. Stamina, I think in particular, is you cannot just walk in circles anymore and kind of grind it forever. There is a cap on what you can earn per battle, but there's no reason not to keep going until you hit that cap. And they're going to let me keep on shooting at these guys until pretty much forever, so fuck it. Keep going till I kill them. I could move in there, engage in melee, try and assault them. That's an equally viable plan. It does lead to a high capture ratio for weapons, but in this instance, they're going to be like muskets, and guns I don't care about, basically. Farmers, reward farmers, etc. So I'm taking the units I know I get to keep, and I'm just marching them around, trying to get as much experience in my army as I can, because again, as I mentioned, I've got no training. So veteran units are going to be very hard to come by early on, and I'm going to want to prioritize their safety and efficacy for a little while. And part of that is pumping their stamina, especially when you consider the Battle of First Bull Run. The Union Army in that map does an awful lot of walking, and you need to be ready and in position. All right, I think they're down to the 1 brigade, right? At this point, 1 brigade, 1 battery. So we can go in. Well, let's push the skirmishers in and see what we see. So there's 3 brigades and a battery. All right. But I think we can still engage favorably. Yeah. Let's get them some experience. You go scouting. All right, I'm pretty sure it's just the battery at this point. Yeah, it is. Oh no, it's Alice too. Okay. Alice has a non-zero degree of experience as well. It's cool. Good job, skirmishers. It's totally user error. I shouldn't blame anybody but me for that, but still. Okay, well, if that's the case, let's go get them. With all the units I don't get to keep. So, you stay. Doop 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 doop. I tell you, these are other units I'd love to keep too. And go a long way towards making the opening campaign a lot more bearable. All right, so this really didn't go the way that this battle usually goes. It's not a stupendous example of how how Philippi goes. Still okay. We'll be capture. Whatever. Okay, that's good. Roughly a brigade's worth of M41s ish, small brigade. Same with 3 bores. Okay. And we'll get more, I'm sure. That's useful. That's a whole battery. That's also a whole battery. Well, it's a small battery, but whatever. All right, and then some supporting shit. All right, cool. Okay, so your first, so we got Scales, Loomis, and Walton. Full accuracy. Oh, no, wait. Walton. Scales, Loomis, Walton. Who was the other 2-star unit that was... I was so, like, in a tizzy about getting a... And then I had to get this crap. So bad. All right, whatever. The first pick almost always has to be Army Org, unless you built your army in the campaign screen or the pre-campaign screen, so you had 2 pips in Army Org. And that's specifically because you go to the next fight to stress call and you bring 5 units, or you bring 10 units. So right now you only have enough AO. You bring 10 units to that battle. Right now you only have enough AO to bring 4, which is just, there's no universe at all in which you can go through distress call with 4 units. So your first pick pretty much always has to be AO, unless you go into, like I said, the campaign screen with more AO. That still only gets you 8. And additionally, at first bull run, you need to have 12. So I'm typically inclined to just put your first 3 pips into AO now, and then because now you can bring a max of 10 units. And then either put your next pip also into Army Org to get you up to 15 max, or just only bring 10 to first bull run, and put your next pip into like politics perhaps, or econ. Politics or econ are both excellent early picks. And the reason I say that is that politics is more money, but econ makes your money more efficient. And this is a topic of discussion frequently on the Discord, whether it's more efficient to go politics or economy early on. I think a mix of both is probably going to work well here. I'm not a fan of picking one stat and then just like tunnel visioning it till you get to 10 and then calling it a day. I think it makes an army that's unbalanced. Anyway, so we're going to take AO3 for our first pick. You get your reputation points. This is a stat that's important, your rep. Like, this is how much standing you have back in Washington or Richmond, as the case might be. You can call in personal favors and all that kind of thing. We'll also talk about our commander here, Legendary Fiasco. First thing we're going to pick is the 55s. We need those. We're probably going to pick up the Ords, and we'll probably pick up John Gibbons as well before first bull run. We're not going to do it right now. Woods is who we kept. Woods is a horse artillery unit. We don't like that. What can I do with that? Yeah, it's not a terrible plan. So the reason I picked the long range perk on a Napoleon unit is the Napoleon's already excellent up close. I don't think it needs more help up close. But this perk here, takes the Napoleon and now it pushes it, in my mind, to an effective mid-range gun. And so this is a huge, huge chonkin battery. It's got some good experience. It's got good stats. Actually, we're going to leave that the way that is. So Bobby Woods takes division command. Cuts here, we'll get some experience as a unit. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to give you a gun I've got a shitload of. And we're going to create an infantry gun brigade with the exact same gun. Oh, they're going to be huge. Make it small then. All right, so Walton, I hate your perk. Fixed. Sort of. I lose the second perk. That sucks, but it's okay. It's still a great unit with great stats, and now it's got a good perk. I do want to put Walton back in that unit, though. All right, so now I've got all my dudes the way I want them, which is fine. And we have to start thinking about going through the process of picking new units. So this whole process of dragging units on top of each other, that's new-ish in the Rebalance mod. You're not going to have seen that from the vanilla game. And let's also take a look at our first core pick for Fiasco. I'm going to talk about this now because I figure, having looked at the metrics in my videos, the tutorial ones, the first battle tutorials are always the best vids with the most views. So at tier 1 in your generals, you've got an accuracy perk, you've got a melee perk basically, and then you've got a speed perk. I almost always pick accuracy for exactly the same reason that I almost always pick accuracy as the first pick on my infantry, even if they're ultimately going to be melee units. Shooting is always useful. Are you on the offense? Shooting is useful. Are you on the defense? Shooting is useful. It's always, 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 always useful. There are other guys who play this game, Warbob and Johnny in particular, who go all in, balls to the wall on melee. And it works for them. So if that's your play style, don't let me tell you it won't work. It won't work for me. That's just how I play. Keep that in mind. I'm not going to go through the whole build here, but I'll probably end up building a unit of skirmishers. Oh, we'll actually take a look at what guns I want to pick up buying. So I want to pick up the Siege, the Whitworth, the Parrots, the Howitz, like basically everything down here. I'm playing the Union, guys. So Confederates can kind of get away with building a maneuver army, and so that's about as big as I want that to be anyway. All right. What else do I have 1,500 of? Nothing. Okay, cool. So that's what they're going to have. And you have the Mississippi, and you're about the same size as I want you to be anyway. All right, so we're starting the campaign at 1,500 for our brigades. And that definitely hurts. It's a nice big size for a brigade. Oh, man, we have like no muskets. We got another brigade of Rebors. And then a bunch of like randos. The thing is, we can't buy Mississippis, and we can, but we don't have enough money to really meaningfully buy Springfields. What I do want to pick up, though, is revolving rifles. That might be an interesting, fun unit to put on a perk on a new skirm unit. We'll pick up stuff off the field at that battle, so we'll just do the rest later. Yeah, let's actually get that rolling now. Oh, small. Where are the revolvers? There they are. 166. We are going to need to baby this unit, but they're going to be sick. All right. Like I said, I'm not going to go through the full army build. We're going to try and build probably 2 more brigades of infantry and a rifled artillery unit of some kind. How many? I've got no parrots. I've got 4 ords. Yeah, I think we are going to pick the ords. Then that gives me 10. All right. Yeah. You'll see a huge difference in these 2 batteries in terms of performance. So we're going to do at least 2 more units of infantry, maybe a third, and then a unit of cavalry. I think I will end up buying probably the Palmettos for the cav unit, maybe, because we're going to pick up plenty of Sharps carbines. So I basically refuse to buy these because you'll pick up so many over the course of the game. There's no sense in buying them. But you don't run across too many Palmettos. You do actually run across a lot of Colts, but I mean, it's melee 90 versus melee 80. Like, that's a significant jump, obviously, but I don't know if it's $14 significant, because when you consider buying for a cav unit, I run them around 400. So it's 22,800 on just the guns, and then you're also paying for horses. So that'll be, what, 30,000, give or take? What is the difference for... Yeah, like it's a budget choice, no question. But it's damn near, it's not half as much, but it's a good $5,000 less or so. Not 5, but yeah, about 5. Yeah, thereabouts. Whatever, you get the idea. So let's do that now. Not that many. We're not crazy. 450? That should be about right. It's enough that I can take the losses I know I'm going to take inevitably with them. Because they're also rookies. This whole army is composed entirely of just back-asswards dumb rookies. Alright. Reboard musket unit. 1,500 on the nose. Boom. Oh, we don't have a lot of guns in stock. I don't want to make small brigades either. Yeah, I guess we can buy those. That's fine. Okay, so what I really don't want to do is I don't want to buy another infantry brigade's worth of Springfields, because that's going to be basically all the money I've got left. I don't want to do that. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to create a non-repeater light infantry unit. I think we're going to do it with Springfield 61s. They're not good for melee, but the 41 isn't either, so that's fine. Right? Not good for melee. Yeah, not good for melee. Okay. Yeah. We're going to do... I can't buy more of those. Do I have anybody equipped with them? I do. Yeah, so I want to hold on. I want to hold on to these for the purposes of preserving my stock of this weapon. I don't have a lot of them, and I'm not going to be able to get more of them. So we're going to be using the 61 on our skirmishers. That'll make them a pretty competent skirm unit. We're going to make them as big as we can. Because in Distress Call, the Confederates do not have any skirmishers. So these don't affect your scaling in the same way that infantry will, or these big-ass batteries. That's going to be kind of annoying. But they've got usually shit guns at Distress Call, so I'm not that worried about it. And I would think about as well buying another unit of cavalry, but we'll see. All right. Let me go ahead and max out my supply wagon. This is way the hell more money than I need going into this battle. Way the hell more money than I need. But I tend to run with the full supply wagon, and I don't want to ever think about that money as being there. So it's a $30,000 supply cache I can pull if I really need to top up a unit or something. But this is the battle, the army going into first Distress Call. I'll name these units off camera, and we'll go from there. Just like I did on my Confederate playthrough, I'm going to be naming these after states. I'll have a little chart, and I'll just roll on them. It's based on basically like which states contributed the most, and then instead of just doing that, so we see a lot of like 53rd New York and that kind of thing over and over and over again. I'll like weight it a little bit so that you see other states showing up too, like Wisconsin and Michigan and that kind of deal. All right, guys, I will see you in the next one. This is Fiasco. Thanks for watching. I'm excited to kick this series off. I hope Legendary is, a fun engagement for us, and we'll go from there. See you then. This is Fiasco saying I'll see you on the field.